Protect your car with 3W Liners all-weather floor mats. Made from durable materials like TPE and rubber, our mats are designed to withstand rain, snow, and mud with deep grooves to trap dirt and liquids. For a custom fit and advanced protection, visit 3W Liners. That's the number 3, WLINERS.com today. Cases, innovation drives us. Since 2008, we've been creating cutting-edge technology products that make your life easier. With a focus on performance, design, and customer service, we're here to help you work smarter, not harder. Join us on our journey to simplify your world. Visit acasis.com today. That's ACASIS.com today.
Farmhounds offers natural treats and chews made with quality products that support family farms, regenerative agriculture, and humane farming practices. Give your dog the best with wholesome, organic ingredients that promote health and happiness. Shop now at farmhounds.com. Unlock a world of convenience with Mully Box, your one-stop solution for personalized subscription boxes delivered right to your door. From gourmet snacks to unique finds, each box is tailored to your tastes. Experience the joy of surprises. Subscribe today at mullybox.com. That's MULLYBOX.com. We are Rogue Media Sports.
Hello, friends, and welcome back to an episode of The Cam Show, brought to you by Rogue Media Sports Network. That's who we're powered by. I'm your host, Cam Stuart. Zach Burke keeps us on the air every weekday live at high noon Eastern time, and then available wherever you get your podcasts as well. Talking nothing but Boston sports. It's your Friday lunch hour alternative to Boston Sports Talk Radio. Today, we will talk about the Bruins and the dreaded mushy middle. Why The Athletic actually thinks they're in a better position than a lot of people think this Bruins team is, and why they're holding court with some other playoff teams. Plus, we'll have Pete Souza on to talk about the best sports media personalities of the 21st century. And if we have time, boy, the Red Sox are collapsing all around us. Why they probably won't make the playoffs at this point. Expert analysis there. All that and more coming up on this episode of The Cam Show. We start where we start, though, and on most days here on The Cam Show, that is with the Boston Bruins. And we're getting right down to prediction time, folks. I mean, we're a week away from preseason games starting up, a couple of weeks away from the home opener against Chicago. I think they played Washington the night before, a little back-to-back to start the season, and we got regular season hockey. So where is this team going to go? I've heard they're going to go in the dumpster. They'll pick in the top 10 again. I've heard they'll go to the playoffs. Somewhere probably in the middle is where they're actually going to go. And that's not a fun thing unless your name is Malcolm, okay? You don't want to be living out there in the middle. And that's probably where the Bruins are at right now. But is that the worst place they could be? Let's talk about it. The Athletic just dropped its updated NHL contention cycle for 2025-26. And there's one team that just breaks the model. The Boston Bruins. They're the ones that are the toughest to predict when it comes to this season. Okay, they're obviously not contenders. They're not necessarily rebuilding. And to even say they're stuck in the middle is a bit of a misnomer because it's not the middle in a way that makes sense. So what are they? Are they this sleeping giant that Donnie's going to rebuild in 1 year? Or are they just a team pretending it's still dangerous while not actually looking in the mirror? Let's figure it out. In the contention cycle, as you can see on the screen here, there are only 4 teams that are firmly in no man's land. And for those of us who have tracked the Bruins every move the last few years, and specifically this offseason, it makes perfect sense to see the Bruins in there, right? I think they're the toughest team to predict going into this NHL season. But should they be in the mushy middle? Like, is that where they're supposed to be? I mean, I look at this class and where they're put in no man's land, and later in the article, The Athletic actually more diplomatically calls it the limited ceiling tier. But look who else is there. Ottawa? Ottawa made the playoffs last year. Like, they have a legit young core with Tkachuk, Pinto, Stützle, Sanderson. Still got Ullmark between the pipes, who looked excellent last year again. I don't know why they're in this tier. I see them as a team taking a small step forward this year, even though they didn't add much. You got to remember, they didn't have Brady Tkachuk, basically like the Panthers didn't have his brother, from after the Four Nations, basically until the start of the playoffs. They didn't have their best player, and they still got in the toughest division in all of hockey. And they got in there on the first wild card. They actually weren't even the worst team in their division to make the playoffs. That was Montreal. So I don't see how they're in the middle here. They've got a core. They're locked down. They've locked down the goalie. It is still the toughest division in hockey, and Montreal might have gotten better, but I don't see how they're a middling team at all. I see Ottawa as a team that should be in the playoff picture, in the playoffs the next couple of years. St. Louis, they made the playoffs last year too. Remember? They were the hottest team in hockey after the Four Nations break. Now, the core with them looks a little bit different, and there's still some up in the air with Jordan Kyrou and those rumors, but they've put a lot of trust in our old pal, Jim Montgomery, and he hasn't even been there a full season yet. You know, they still made the playoff push. They made the playoffs, and they had the ridiculous, what was it, 13-game win streak. They were legitimately the best team in hockey for the final month and a half of the season. And they're in the middle? Like, I guess there's no guarantee they're a playoff team this year, I guess, because I don't know that they did a lot the offseason to make themselves a lot better. But so I guess I can understand that angle of them being in the middle here in no man's land. But again, The Bruins weren't in the playoffs last year. In fact, they weren't really close to the playoffs last year. So I don't know why these guys are in the same classroom. Anyway, the last one is Minnesota. And as you can tell by now, all three of the other teams in no man's land did make the playoffs last year. The Bruins did not. So I'm not really understanding that. But here comes Minnesota. And they're honestly, I think, here because Kirill Kaprizov turned down that insane contract. He turned down 8 years for $128 million. He wants to take up all of somebody's cap space. I think Ty Anderson had that great meme where it was like that Ron Swanson. I think what you heard is I want a lot of your money, but what I want is all of your cap, all the cap space you have. So I guess that's why they're in there. But let's be honest and take a real honest look at this thing. The Wild, again, made the playoffs last year. They still got that second round boycott going on, but they did make the playoffs. And when you look at the talent they have versus what the Bruins have, like that's a team that's feeling much better about this season than Boston is. You know, outside of Kaprizov, you still have Boldy and Brock Faber and Joel Eriksson Ek. Like, is there enough talent for them to be Stanley Cup contenders? Probably not. But there's certainly enough talent for them to feel in a better position than where the Bruins are at this year. So that's where it's like, are these guys in the same class? Are the Senators really middling as much as the Bruins are? I don't see it. And I watch that team in our division every year. So I just, again, I wonder why they get looped in with three playoff teams. You know, none of these teams did much in free agency or in the trade market this year, but neither did the Bruins. I don't think the Bruins made their roster any better this summer. To me, this Bruins team is closer to the Islanders, the Rangers, the Canucks, the Flames, than they are to Minnesota. And that's honestly a somewhat optimistic look. Because I said they didn't really get much better in this offseason. And if you look at where they were last year, on last year's results, they're closer to Pittsburgh, San Jose, and Chicago than they are to Minnesota and Ottawa. So what surprises me then is seeing some of those teams that I think the Bruins are closer to in completely different tiers. Bring up the graph again. Like, they're in no man's land, while the Islanders, the Canucks, the Flames, the Rangers are in different tiers here. And where those other teams are feels like a worse spot than no man's land. Like, yeah, no shit, the Rangers window is closing. They're in the window closing tier. They were a total mess last year. Like, absolutely, from like toe-to-toe with the Bruins. The Bruins sold at the trade deadline and actually jump-started their kind of outlook on the future with draft picks. And the Rangers didn't sell, really, at the trade deadline. But they were neck and neck the whole year leading up to that point. And one of the young guys they were really excited about, Keandre Miller, he's gone. One of their top 5 picks from a few years ago, Capo Caco, he's gone. So, they got JT Miller in the middle of the season, and he's a good player. But, like, does that add up to, with the losses they have, is the addition of JT Miller in the middle of last year, making him your captain, better than getting a healthy Charlie McAvoy, healthy Hampus Lindholm back? I don't see how the Rangers and the Bruins are not in the same spot. They should be right next to each other. And the trio of Vancouver, Calgary, the Islanders, like, that makes more sense for me as a landing spot for the Bruins. And again, I think where those teams are at are worse than no man's land. They know their window's up. They don't have playoff talent on the roster, and they know that. And they don't have much in the way of prospects. Obviously, Calgary has Dustin Wolf, still a young kid. He's a goalie. It's a little different. The Islanders do have the number 1 pick from this year's draft, so it feels weird to say they don't have much in the way of prospects, but Matthew Schaefer basically missed the whole season last year with an injury. So who knows how much he's contributing this year, which is what we're talking about. And maybe most importantly for all of those teams, none of them have any money. just like the Bruins don't have any money. The Bruins are slotted to have the 31st most available cap space when this star-studded free agency opens next summer. 31st. Only the Carolina Hurricanes have less money to spend next year. And those teams are in very different places, okay? The Canes have a core locked up, and they were one of the only spenders in this year's free agency to get Nikolai Ehlers. So when you look at that, that has a much different outlook, not only on this season, but how much better they can get next season. And this varies, this kind of drifts away from this list a little bit, this contention cycle a little bit, because they're looking at this year mainly. But you want to look at the other teams down near the bottom of that list in terms of money to spend next year. And you're looking at the Rangers, 19th. They still have to sign Artemi Panarin. He's a UFA. The Islanders, 20th. Calgary, 24th. And Vancouver, 29th. This triumvirate of the Minnesota Wild, the St. Louis Blues, and the Ottawa Senators, who are grouped with the Bruins, all have more cap space than the Rangers next year. So they're all in the top 20. Although, again, you got to realize Kirill Kaprizov, unrestricted free agent. So Minnesota might not be in that realm in the next couple of months. But, like, all of those teams have a better outlook for this year and a better outlook for the future. So I don't know why the Bruins are kind of thrown into that mix. So maybe that doesn't matter as much for this year, but that short-term, long-term future, the Bruins are on an even playing field with the Rangers, the Flames, and the Canucks. None of those teams exactly have a rosy outlook right now, okay? The Canucks are like, if we don't make the playoffs this year, we're going to lose our best player. The Flames are much like the Bruins, man, and they're trying to get rid of Rasmus Andersson, but they just don't know when to admit they're not good enough. And I would say the same thing about the Rangers last year. They really should have been looking at themselves in the mirror in February and saying, you know what? We're not good enough. We need to think of going a different direction. And Artemi Panarin has a year and a half left on his contract, could bring in a hell of a haul for you. But they didn't think like that. They brought in JT Miller, and they tried to get better right now. So I'll give the Bruins some credit there. At least they tried to accelerate this thing by making some trades at the deadline. The thing, I will say, the thing that can bust the Bruins out of no man's land this year and what can make them break out of the slums of lower middle class NHL mediocrity is the same thing. It's the prospects. Like, the Bruins will need a lot to go right for them this year to get in the playoffs. Charlie McAvoy and Hampus Lindholm are going to need to bounce back with a fully healthy season. Jeremy Swayman is going to need to return to an all-star form. Elias Lindholm is going to need to be healthy. It sounds like he's healthy right now. Maybe he can be a 60-point guy on the first line, 55, 60-point guy. That's a big change from where he was as a 47-point guy, 50-point guy, playing on the lower lines. Like, if he can do that, then that is a good step. But you'll also need contributions from the kids. That's what it's going to take. Like, all those things are going to need to go right, and your kids are going to need to be able to hit the ground running at some point this season. You know, to me, it's actually not all that unlike Montreal last year. Now, Montreal's prospects, don't get it twisted, are much more talented than the Bruins prospects. And, you know, they had a point-per-game guy just ready to break out in Nick Suzuki. The Bruins don't have that. They have one guy who's a point-a-game guy, and that's it. But you see how those guys came along. Obviously, Lane Hudson won the Calder. Demidov comes in late in the season. He takes off. But even the guys like, you know, some young vets, you know, with Anderson and Caulfield taking off again. And like, you go down the list, and these guys kind of all found their role in the middle of the season. They were one of the best teams in the back half of the NHL year, and they made the playoffs. They snuck in. The Bruins can do something like that. They can. But it would need Fraser Minten excelling in a third-line center role. Can you find a place for Patra on this roster? Can Mason Lowry run your power play? be a consistent top 4 pairing guy? Will Michael DiPietro, another young guy, will he take over the backup goalie spot? And you can really tandem this thing again. Those are the kind of guys who can separate the Bruins from that mushy middle, unlike some of these other teams trying to integrate 1 or maybe 2 top prospects like you might see in Calgary with Parake. The Bruins are trying to find roles for 4 or 5 guys that don't necessarily need to be superstars, but can be regular NHL contributors. That's how they can separate themselves. Right now, I think the Athletic might be flattering the Bruins a little bit by keeping them in the same tier with these playoff teams, if we're being totally honest with you. I personally, I don't think no man's land tier is the worst one to be on in this cycle. Other ones that kind of interest me before we bust out of this, really the only one that has window open and not like win now territory are the Stars and the Oilers. A little surprised by that. The Oilers, I think they'll re-sign McDavid, but he is a UFA in 10 months now, and you've been to the final the last 2 years. If that's not win now, I don't know what is, but I guess they're looking at win now as teams who don't or have their window about to close, I guess. They don't want to put them in window closing because those are for bad teams, but win now, window kind of closing. Vegas? They really think Jack Eichel's not going to be there next year? I hope they're right, because I hope that means he's playing for the Boston Bruins. But to me, like the Lightning way over here to the right are much more in the window closing versus win now than the Vegas Golden Knights are. And I think it's generous to say that Detroit's window's opening. I know they're even a little closer to that if you take the end of their logo than Montreal is. That's a bit surprising to me. I think Detroit still has a bit to work out. They need to make the playoffs first for their window to be opening. Montreal's window opening, I can absolutely buy that. The Devils' window opening, we'll see. Obviously that team got really hurt towards the end of last season. I just want to see how much Jack Hughes can carry this team, because I do believe he's a good player, and I love the James Hagen's comp to him. We'll see there. I think Carolina's a little bit more ready to win than Carolina is. Than the Devils are. I think Carolina's definitely more ready to get to the conference finals and get swept than the Devils are. Let me just say that. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Are the Bruins in this mushy middle? Is that the worst place to be? Should they be looked at amongst these playoff teams? And what needs to go right for them to get back to the playoffs? Let me know in the comment section below. Then be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. We come at you live on YouTube every weekday, high noon Eastern time, and then available wherever you get your podcasts as well. It's called The Cam Show because my name's Cam Stewart, your host. Zach Burke keeps us on the air 5 days a week, giving you your lunchtime alternative to Boston Sports Talk Radio. Coming up next, a long overdue conversation with the great Pete Souza about the landscape of sports media in 2025. We will also be looking at the greatest sports talk personalities of the last 25 years and what awful announcing's list got right and what they got wrong. That's coming up next on The Cam Show. Commercial break.
We'll be right back after these quick words from our sponsors. This is Rogue Media Network.
In Motion is more than just a name. It's a legacy of innovation. From supplying electric vehicle parts like motors and inverters since the 1960s to creating cutting-edge electric scooters, hoverboards, and unicycles. In Motion is shaping the future of mobility. Whether you're looking for industrial power solutions or accessible personal transport, In Motion has you covered. Explore our products and experience the future of movement. Visit store.inmotionworld.com today.
Is your Mac running slow? Mac Booster 8 is your all-in-one solution to clean up 20 types of junk files, remove malware and viruses, and protect your device. It also optimizes your Mac's hard disk, fixes disk permission issues, and cleans memory, all to boost your Mac's performance to the max. Get your Mac running like new again with Mac Booster 8. Visit macboost.net today.
Finding a sleep sack that my baby likes has been a struggle. The sleep sack from Joy is a major upgrade.
It's all natural eucalyptus, which is breathable and hypoallergenic, which is really great for your baby's sensitive skin.
And it's Smoothie Climatech, which regulates your baby's temperature.
You can also get Joy's crib sheets, which are made of the same super soft material.
Joy gave my baby comfort
and gave me peace of mind.
At Mapiful, we believe in celebrating your journey, past, present, and future. Our unique personalized products are designed to boost your confidence, elevate creativity, and honor what matters most. From custom home decor to meaningful gifts, we help you cherish the memories that make you who you are. Visit mapiful.com and start celebrating your story today.
And now, back to our show.
Back to it. Rogue Media Sports Network, the Cam Show. Pete Souza back. Pete, what's going on back there? I heard
Scotty's making noise. He's editing something.
I gotcha. Pete, how's it going, man?
I mean, it's great. Cam, honestly, it's Friday. I'm here with you. Sports media, some of my favorite topics. It's always kind of churning up here, you know?
Yeah.
The sports media landscape. Yeah, I'm always kind of paying attention, probably too much, but it's always fun to have a chat with you too.
Is that a little Amtrak polo you got going on?
Yeah, you know what? It is.
Souza family hand-me-down?
My dad. My dad, Joe Souza, worked probably 40 years at Amtrak. Yeah, it took us from Connecticut to Washington, D.C., ultimately to Philadelphia. That's where I was obviously born and raised. Yeah.
Gotcha. Is that how you would see? You went to school in Richmond. That seems like a good Amtrak stop. Is that how you'd get there?
Oh, bro. A lot of beers consumed on the Amtrak from Philadelphia to Richmond, Virginia.
I know you wouldn't do that now for obvious reasons,
no.
but that must have been so sick.
Dude, you would get, I mean, I would get on the train in Philadelphia and drive back to school and ride back to school with, like, you know, I always had like something with me, like vodka or something. I would be,
all right, well,
people would pick me up at the train station and I'd be like blacked out. It's 4.5 hours, dude. So,
and of course, you know, I got to throw in the requisite line here. This is before, you know, you could just watch stuff on the phone. Like you could just like, that's a perfect amount of time to just get drunk. You know what I mean?
Well, dude, you're reading People magazine, you know, and you got a couple, like, you got a couple Sports Illustrateds. And then what I would do was, and this is like,
some people would read books, but yeah, Pete, I get you.
You know what I would do? I would write like freehand. Well, I thought I was Jim Morrison, so I'd write like crazy poetry and stuff. Yeah. And then I would just, you know, a lot of it done obviously under the influence. Yeah.
I mean, that's very Jim Morrison of you. Like that's,
yeah, no, there was a point,
drugs, but yeah.
There was a point in time where like, I thought that was like the coolest lifestyle you could actually ever like just get as messed up as you can and get creative. Yeah.
Yeah. And then just bow out at 27, you know,
didn't pan out too well. No.
Anybody
listening at home.
Does he have regrets? Probably not.
I mean, everything led to the man I am today. So, but I would not recommend that.
Did you like that Doors movie with Val Kilmer?
Dude, I like it. I loved it. That was what we're talking about. That was what ignited all this. Yeah.
I thought Val Kilmer was that like 94?
Yeah. 93, 94. Yeah. You're on it. Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. I'm usually on it when it comes to that kind of thing. That's one of those autistic things I got. I like to know songs and movies, like when they came out specifically. I like to, I don't like to get that wrong.
I think Val Kilmer sang in that movie, if I'm not mistaken.
Could have. It's been a while. I haven't seen it in like 7 or 8 years. He could have. I honestly
rewatch. Great rewatch.
Rewatched Bend It Like Beckham last night.
Why?
Grace hadn't seen it. It's a good movie, man. I actually really like Bend It Like Beckham, man.
No, I'm not a Bend It Like Beckham guy.
I'm sure it's not. You're not even a soccer guy in general, let alone a social commentary of.
Speaking of my alcohol and drug abuse, we watched Kicking and Screaming in rehab. I remember that. Facts. We did. This guy Alan.
Why?
People were. We had to vote about a movie, and this older guy Alan. He was an attorney in like Monmouth County, New Jersey, but he was definitely screwed up. He belonged there, and he was like, "Who doesn't want to see Kicking and Screaming? Who doesn't want to see it? It's the best." like that's the kind of fights you will get into it.
Dude, when you have a lisp as a lawyer, that will probably drive you to that, I think.
Well, he lost all his teeth from doing so much drugs.
Oh.
It was an ugly scene.
Okay, so it's chicken before the egg kind of thing.
No, when his kids went to Fordham, his wife was terrific. He was a great example of just stay away from
yeah,
drugs.
man. Yeah. God, we could have just done a segment about like when you can use movies, when you could use movies as a tool. But I do want to talk sports media with you because that's what we usually do, Pete. This list came out. We both were pretty busy last week. Couldn't get you on for it. But how about this from Awful Announcing? This is so right up both of our alleys, but specifically yours. I'll even take down the lower thirds for now so you can see the whole list. But that is Awful Announcing's top 25 most influential sports media figures of the 21st
You sent it to me. I'm going to
century.
call it up on my phone too so I can see it.
Can I get an instant reaction from you, Pete? As you pull
well,
up
I think number one is right.
Okay.
I don't think there's any question about it. I mean, I could not that's been my experience, by the way. I mean, Bill Simmons has been riding with me throughout this entire, since 2005 for sure, the past 20 years. Kornheiser and Wilbon is a real interesting one. I mean, how do you want to go through this? So
Kornheiser and Wilbon one, I think you'll agree with this. It's clearly not like a what have you done for me lately, but a lot, I wouldn't say most, but a lot of people on this list probably owe their spot on the list in some way to Kornheiser and Wilbon starting that show.
Well, that's a really good point. I mean, and also I think you would say too to Howard Stern.
Yes, for sure. Yes,
Simmons is one for sure. I'll tell you one who's on here who I don't. When did Stuart Scott die? I that's
at least 10 years ago, dozen years ago.
See, I would put Stuart Scott as the most influential guy in like the 90s.
Yes, that's a good. Yeah.
From 1990 to 2005. Yeah, that's Stuart Scott territory, not after. So that's one that I look at right away.
I mean, I could kind of think the same about Dan Patrick. I mean,
yeah, but he's a juggernaut, dude.
He's still doing it. He's still doing it. Yeah, I shouldn't hold that against him. Like
Mina Kimes is way too high.
Mina Kimes is a good analyst. Like
she's a great analyst,
fine analyst. But how is she moving the needle? That's what this whole list is. Who's moving the needle here?
I'll tell you who's absent from this list, like him or not. Oh, Lebatard's on
Minahan,
here. Okay,
yeah.
Lebatard's on here. There are some. Do you want to know? You want to hear a good one?
Yeah.
So
I do. I want to hear.
How about? And your Boston brethren will appreciate this. How about people who should be on here who aren't? My number one, and I was thinking about her yesterday, and it's to the point where I feel sorry for her. Katie Nolan. Now that is a young woman.
No, come on, dude.
What?
Go ahead.
Katie Nolan followed the blueprint to be a media megastar. And here's how she did it, right? She did it YouTube, right? She was very organic. She knew what she wanted to do. She commanded an audience on YouTube, which you and I both know how difficult that really is to do, especially now, because of all the trees in the woods, right? All the trees in the forest.
Sure.
But Katie Nolan was set up to dominate the sports media industry. And I just don't think she had I don't know that she wanted it that bad. I don't think she wanted to deal with a lot of the BS.
So isn't that more damning that she didn't? None of her shows have stuck. None of them.
Yeah, and I don't really know why. I think.
I mean, there could be a reason why, Pete. She's just probably not that entertaining. She's fine, and I think she's a good fan turned commentator kind of thing. But you're on borrowed time when you're not an analyst. You know what I mean? And
but hold on, because
we're trying a rating.
She was poorly cast on the FS1 deal, and a lot of people went down with that ship. Unfortunately, they just did. I don't know why, but they did. The two dudes from Canada, never seen again. she was kind of like never seen again. There's a bunch of people I'm not thinking about. Not that many people escaped. I mean, like Carissa Thompson was one who shot up from that. Like Regis Philbin was a part of that. You remember? Like, and it was pretty cool at the time. I was on board. I was excited for it, but it just never worked. But Katie Nolan, I think, I don't think I just don't think she wanted it that bad. I don't. And she got too sucked into the television medium and should have stuck with the podcast. Like she had that
podcast
cornered.
Twitter. She should have stuck with it.
Yeah. And she had that cornered.
The way I see like Jared Carabas, who's probably someone that you don't follow or follow along too much, but he's like the number one voice on baseball Twitter, really, as a fan, Red Sox fan. And now he's got a mega podcast out of it. Like they just Fenway just hosted, I think their second or third Section 10 night. Section 10 is the name of his podcast, where they do like a night dedicated to these guys at Fenway Park. Like that's what Katie Nolan should have stuck with.
I totally
like that. And she never worked at Barstool, which is absolutely what she should have been doing.
Yep.
And I don't know if it's some moral high ground or what, but there have been plenty of women who have found their.
I think it was a moral high ground for her. I think at some point
it sucks,
Yeah, I think at some point she was like, "Yeah, I'm not doing that," and I think she got a ton of money thrown at her. I think because from
that's
Fox,
that's actually a good point. That's the other thing.
Yeah,
TV offered her money.
Exactly, and now here's the reason I kind of get bummed because, and I shouldn't be, but this is just like I'm in the car yesterday and I hear she's doing a show once a week for an hour on like Sirius Channel 1,040,040. And I'm like, wow, that's interesting. Like she had it by the short and curlies for a minute,
It's crazy. And she does nothing Boston centric, really. Like, I mean, that might be what she's talking about on that show, but no local foothold at all. And Boston sports talk radio is as bad as it's ever been. And she still can't.
Well, that's it. Honestly, Cam, I don't think that's specific to Boston. I think that's everywhere.
Well, no, you're right.
Outside of New York.
Correct. No, you're right. And even New York, I mean, it's fine. It's stable, but is it as bad as it's ever been? Maybe.
Okay. Who else is missing from this? There's a glaring omission.
Ooh.
And she's a female. And she should be on this.
Brianna Chicken Fry. I know you're a big fan. Yeah.
I like chicken fry. But it's not her.
A female sport. It's not on this list. Are you thinking of like Laura Rutledge?
No.
I am.
No.
Most days.
If this list was made 2 or 3 years ago, she would have been on it. No question. But she's kind of disappeared.
Jamel Hill?
No, but that's not a bad guess. It's Michelle Beadle.
Yeah, you like Beadle a lot. I
like Beadle a lot, and she was a mega star in 2000.
Yeah, in the 2000s.
Certainly 2010 to like 2020 even. I mean, look at it this way. She was, what the hell?
She's certainly more than Ernie Johnson and Tony Romo.
Yeah, but
like both those guys are very good at their job, but we're talking about needle moving here.
Andrew Miller wrote that book, Those Guys Have All the Fun, and it was like 2009 or 2010. And that was a real legit book. And he had a whole chapter called Beatlemania, and it was all about her and how she had kind of turned the network upside down in a positive way. And they almost didn't know what to do with her. She was such a rising star. She made the mistake too of leaving and going to NBC, and that kind of screwed her up for a couple years as far as like her identity was concerned. And then she came back to ESPN and still got a ton of run,
Yeah. I used to love that Sports Nation show that she did with Cowherd.
Oh my God.
That more or less put Cowherd in the national spotlight, by the way. It didn't last all. They did it for a couple of years. Speaking of that.
Yeah. It's a great list. Great like topic.
Like Cowherd at 25. Okay. So I'm not a big Cowherd.
That's way low.
I'm not a big Cowherd guy. Don't tell Mosley I said that. And we're just talking about how sports talk radio is just not in a good spot versus podcasts and these hot take shows. But how are we putting Cowherd behind Strahan? How are we putting him behind even Dan Patrick? Like, again, Dan Patrick, the Sports Center stuff, like that was kind of waning by the early 2000s. How are we putting him? It's
dude, how was he
weird? How is he behind?
Burke?
How is he 15 spots behind Erin Andrews? I'm sorry.
Now,
Erin
Doris
Andrews
Burke,
is a good sideline reporter, but what does she do to move the needle?
Well, I mean, nothing really. I mean,
exactly.
honestly,
that's okay. She's a good.
If you want to go back,
reporter.
and say, if you could make an argument for both Strahan and Erin Andrews that they really crossed over. Like Strahan's on Good Morning America, dude.
I know.
Honestly, he could be number one, and you could make an argument.
Yeah, but that's where I'm like, he's not a sports personality anymore.
Yeah, you could say the same thing. What's that?
I think Strahan would tell you that. He's
yeah,
like, I'm a former athlete. I know sports, but I'm not a sports personality. I'm on Good Morning America.
But Erin Andrews walked away from Dancing with the Stars. I mean, that's a huge.
I get that is probably what puts her there for some reason.
For sure.
And the other thing that I thought about this,
Mike Florio being ahead of Colin Cowherd is a travesty.
Weird. It's weird.
Whoever made
it's
this
got to be
list.
some insider thing.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Florio's boring as hell, man. Cowherd at least will keep you listening. I could listen to Cowherd for 30 minutes every day if I had to. I'd be past
He's
that.
He's a little too sticky at times.
Yeah,
but
that's
what
the
you have
thing.
to do.
I couldn't do his whole show or anything. The other thing I'm thinking on this list is, like, should we really have play-by-play guys on here?
I think you should have Joe Buck on here. Yeah,
Joe Buck's on there. Costas is still somehow on there. I mean, Costas lost his fastball 20 years ago. I don't know how he's still on there.
And Costas was still shaking things up, like in 2014, 2013, when he was on NBC and he was
this
doing
pink
all that
guy.
stuff.
Yeah, I guess that was it.
What did you say?
No. The pink guy and Sochi. I guess that was getting the people talking.
No, but that too. I mean, they had to drag him out of that chair, dude. He was not going anywhere.
But so we have Joe Buck,
and
we have Jim Nantz on there. And so if we're going to do play-by-play guys, fine. Those are two of the best of the 21st century, right?
Yeah.
But then if we're going to do that, what play-by-play guy has been stuffed down your throat the last 10 years or so? Doing everything, every sport you can think of.
Kenny Albert?
How can you have these guys and not Mike Tirico?
That's a good call. Yeah.
Like, Tirico has done some of the biggest events in sports the last decade. He's now wall-to-wall Olympics. He's doing NBC football. He's doing Notre Dame. And he was a big name before that. He's doing Monday Night Football before that. So that's where I'm like, if you're going to put play-by-play guys in here, Tirico does deserve a spot.
Could you imagine if Collinsworth got a hold of this list? I don't see Al. I don't see Mike. Let me wipe my ass with this list.
I mean, Al Michaels would be another one. Like, if you're going to do, we talked about him on your show. I don't think he's quite got the 96 on the black fastball anymore, but he did Sunday Night Football. He started the century on Monday Night Football still. I think he overlapped for a little bit in the 2000s.
With John Madden in this, in this time frame.
And then did Sunday Night Football, which became the biggest game of the week.
The number one rated show in the country.
Like, I mean, that's where I'm like, you're losing me here. The other thing that really sticks out to me is you probably won't be surprised by. How is Portnoy not in the top 5?
Well, I think here's an argument to be made that he could. I don't even think there's an argument, actually. I was going to say he's kind of fallen. He's kind of softened his edge a little bit recently, but that still doesn't.
But for 15 years of this century, like, they have been dominant, and they're only getting stronger. Like, you watched one of the biggest college football games of the week this weekend, big noon kickoff, and previewing it there for you is going to be Dave Portnoy.
Yeah,
like, love him or hate him, He's, and again, Kornheiser and Wilbon certainly set the stage for a lot of this. If this was a list of 2025, Portnoy would be 30 spots ahead of them. You know what I mean? And I get it. This is for the whole 2000s. But, like, Charles Barkley's great at what he does. But is Dave Portnoy a bigger voice in the sports world? I think so.
No.
I think he is.
He's not. No, he's not. I'll tell you something. And you and I talked about this on your show. When all this stuff is going on with, again, the Charlie Kirk tragedy and the Jimmy Kimmel stuff, there was one person who I've been looking to hear from that I haven't heard from yet, and I don't have that feeling about anybody, and it's Charles Barkley. Because I know he'll tell the truth, and I'm very curious to see someone of that ilk come out and tell us exactly what they're thinking and what's exactly on their mind. And the fact that he has been so transparent and so authentic, and he's still number 2, and they haven't sent him packing, is speaks to his influential sports standing. Yeah.
How about Portnoy behind? I'm not going to agree, but I absolutely see where you're coming from. Again, Barkley is the best at what he does. Analysis with entertainment. He's the best at it. I don't think Stephen A. Smith does real analysis. I guess Simmons does analysis. I guess that's fair.
I love Stephen A. So whatever.
And he deserves to be very high on this list. I'm not arguing his spot. I'm just saying, is he an analyst? No, he's a cartoon character. But how about Doris Burke ahead of Portnoy?
Look, if we're talking about trailblazers, Doris Burke is an absolute trailblazer, and she kicks ass at her job.
She's good at her job.
Yeah, but I don't see Stan Van Gundy or I don't see Jeff Van Gundy on here.
That would actually work more towards my point.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Again, there's a spot for these people being color commentators, right? But is anyone man, when you saw that and you were thinking, man, I really wonder what Charles Barkley has to say about this, was the second name on your mind, Doris Burke? Wonder what she's thinking about the Charlie Kirk thing. No, man. And that should
absolutely
be the only
not.
barometer. But when we're talking about things that happen in the sports world, you want to hear Simmons' take on it. You want to hear Barkley's. Some people want to hear Portnoy's. You want to hear Kornheiser and Wilbon at a certain time in your life. Doris Burke's not that. And to be honest, I don't think Scott Van Pelt is that.
I have another one who should be
Scott
on
Van
this
Pelt
list.
is good, but number 6 voice.
Well, no. Van Pelt, honestly, when you look at, I don't know. I think you and I, for whatever reason, the Van Pelt show is not for you and I, right? I like Van Pelt.
He's getting way blown out of proportion, man.
Yeah,
because he doesn't go off the deep end. Everyone's like, man, Van Pelt's just the best.
He's one of the highest paid guys at ESPN.
Yeah.
From what I've read and heard, he's one of the only untouchable guys there, right?
Apparently, I mean, they've laid off everybody else.
Yeah, so I mean, there's got to be something influential about that. I mean, he literally had them build a whole studio in DC. And honestly, it was a home run because he delivered the goods during COVID for them. And
it's got to be their highest rated sports center, right?
Yeah.
Right after your games.
Yeah, it was amazing. So he was great. I'll tell you who should be on here. You will know her because she went to Boston University. Now, this is another one. She was set up to launch into the stratosphere alongside Colin Cowherd. Christine Leahy was white hot.
Yeah.
I mean, Fox gave her own show. They gave her millions of dollars, I think, and nothing.
I haven't heard of Christine Leahy thrown out there in a long time, man.
Neither am I. I mean, she was on, and I'm looking at her thing, The Herd and American Ninja Warrior. That's what. So I don't know, but she's was another
so
one.
Young. I mean, she's not even 40 yet.
No, she's not.
When you become old. Sorry, Pete.
She's about to be 40. Yeah.
You're
right.
In 2021, she became the host of a Raiders show, Raiders Talk of the Nation.
Now we're talking.
She was replaced in 2022, so she's not even doing that.
Yeah.
She was doing a friggin'.
Do you know what her first job was? EEI, bitch.
I was gonna say she worked at EEI pretty early on. I wouldn't know if that was her first job.
Yeah, how about that? 2 years.
She did the Celtics. She did the Celtics, I think, right? She did Celtics.
Yeah.
I got to scroll. Yeah, she did Celtics.com, Fox Boston, which wasn't really much of
anything. She did the sideline for Turner for March Madness, and obviously she was a rising star with Cowherd. And then she had, do you remember she had the big heated exchange with LeVar Ball on air, and it was sort of awkward. Yes. Yeah, so she's
stay in your lane, right? That was a stay in your lane. Yeah, I think that's what that was.
That was like, oh man,
oh that's bad.
Yeah,
what is all right? But because we got to kind of put a bow on this here soon. What's just the worst one that's on this list, in your opinion?
Hold on.
It could be because of who they're behind, because of the role, but which one are you just like, come on, guys?
I've been listening to a lot of Florio recently, so I like Florio. I'm down with Florio. I think he's great. I think Mina Kimes, who I love, and I root for. unfortunately, I think she's way out of place here. I don't see her having this amazing influence on sports media. I think she's a great analyst, and I know she's a great writer. And she was on Simmons yesterday, and I listened to him the whole time. I listened to her. I mean, like my brother Kevin, R.I.P., loved Mina Kimes. She was the analyst for preseason Rams games. He thought she was the best out there in L.A. So I don't know, man. I got a spot for her in my heart, but I don't think she belongs on this list.
Yeah, I don't think so. And the other thing, too, we got to remember, so like we've said this about a couple of these other people, how long has Mina Kimes really been doing this at ESPN? Has it even been 10 years?
No, I don't think.
And so that's then 15 years of no influence, which is, and I mean, I could say the same about the person in front of her, Stuart Scott.
Guess who else should be on this list?
Who else should be on this list?
And if this list was done if this list gets done again in 5 years, my prediction is this guy's going to be in the top 10.
Ooh, he's not on the list at all right now, but in 5 years he'll be in the top 10.
I'm on a heater right now because I'm right about this.
Is he on TV right now?
Yeah, and you're going to be impressed. And
go ahead.
Pablo Torre. If that guy keeps shaking up stuff like he's doing now.
I was going to say, this is like a very recent heater, Pete. This is not like a 5-year heater. Like,
but I'm saying if he keeps doing this stuff at the rate he's doing it, I mean, now it's only been like a year and a half since he's been crushing it like this, and it's really come to the forefront over the past like 6 months. So it's real recency bias, but if that guy can keep that, all he's got to do is stay the course. I mean, forget about it.
Yeah, we're talking about that's talking about like Joe Burrow could be an all-time great. It's like, sure, he can. Yeah, but this is early. This is young. By the way, I wanted to wrap this up because I wanted to play one more thing for you. Because I just I find myself wondering this all the time when consuming pretty much all media, but specifically for us, sports talk media. Mike Greenberg was not on this list, which I found a little surprising, to be honest with you. I don't think he's the best personality of all time, but Mike and Mike was a big show for a decade in the 2000s, at least. And then
great call.
And then to the point about Van Pelt and the keys that they gave him, they opened up, 10 years ago, that massive waterfront studio in New York City and said, this is our morning show and Greeny is our guy. But then I heard this take from Greeny this morning about Josh Allen. And I think, like, why does sports media have to be like this?
I'm just going to say, I'm mad at myself that we spent 9 minutes and 17 seconds and I didn't say this yet. I'm watching the game last night. I've been watching the sport 50 years. And I'm just a fan. I'm just a reporter, whatever the case is. No one has ever played that position better than Josh Allen plays it. He's not the greatest player ever.
Bart.
No, you tell me who has played that position better than he plays it.
Lamar Jackson and Justin Herbert right now is cooking. What are we talking about, Greeny? It's so early.
He's better than them. I'm saying you can't be better than Josh Allen is. Josh Allen does everything. His command of what he's doing.
Okay.
Like, come on. Why do we have to do that? Well, he's the best player to ever play the position, and then he does this vague thing of like, who plays it better than him? Like, this is why we take stats. This is why we take Super Bowls. Like, this is why, so that Mike Greenberg can't just sit here in the year 2025 and be like, Josh Allen, I've never seen anyone better. Never seen anyone better.
Now, here's one thing I'd say in defense of Greeny. I think he is such a super fan that I think he's swept away right now. He's a total prisoner of the moment. I think he believes that, as opposed to like a Skip Bayless, who I believe is truly like a wrestler.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think Greeny does believe that, but I think it's ridiculous. And who needs that?
And like, it's past Greeny, right? It's like a bigger, I honestly think it's even bigger than sports talk. It's everywhere that you see on social media. Like, why can't a thing just be really good?
Yeah.
Why can't a thing just be really good that we appreciate right now? Why does it's the absolute comparison is the thief of joy kind of thing, right?
Well, and if you're Mike
Greenberg,
Greenberg,
have to be the greatest that we've ever seen.
And if it is, if what he is doing is kind of what you're saying, right? Like the hot takey-ish, like you don't need to. You're Mike Greenberg. Yeah. Like you're the host of the show.
And you got like 4 legit analysts around you. You know what I mean? Like, let's just talk about it, right? Like, but that's not sexy.
I have one more sports media nugget to drop. I meant to bring it up on our show.
Like, that was just such a microcosm of what I hate about sports right now.
let's stay with my brethren at ESPN and go like an hour later. So Molly Kieram like abruptly leaves First Take. And let me just tell you, and I understand like there's good vibes on that set between a lot of those co-hosts. They were having a lot of fun. Like the day after she was gone, like those guys were, I mean, it did not seem like
chummy.
I watched it like they were having a blast. So I think there's a little more there than meets the eye. Maybe Molly, and this happens, dude. I'm listening to this Tyson book. It's amazing, by Mark Kriegel. And he's talking about, and this is Mitch Blood Green fighting Mike Tyson. Tyson's getting $250,000. Mitch Green's getting $30,000. Mitch Green finds this out and he's like, I'm not leaving the locker room until I get my $30,000 in cash tonight. I'm that pissed off about this. And like, I can see Molly at some point being like, yo, this has been me and Steven the whole time.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I need $40 million, but like, come on. And they were probably like, nah, you know,
no,
it is what it is. That's my guess. I have no idea.
That checks out.
Yeah.
That checks out. And I think they're playing the game of like, we can put anyone in here.
Unfortunately, Molly's awesome, but I think you can. I mean, Skip Bayless is gone, and that show is still rocked and rolled. I mean, it's not I think Stephen A is the one constant you need there.
Cowherd's still in the top 25. Doesn't have Christine Leahy anymore. It's proofs in the
pudding. Amazing. How does he do it?
It's crazy how that works. Oh, Pete, this was great, man. Thanks so much for hopping on. We got to do some more of this. I know we've talked about it behind the scenes. We got to do some more of this.
Hello, Boston.
Hello. Goodbye, Boston. We'll see you on Monday, live at high noon Eastern time, and then available wherever you get your podcasts as well. Your lunchtime alternative to the deathly hallows of Boston Sports Talk Radio. That was Pete Souza. Zach Burke keeps us on the air and keeps Pete off the air when I don't need him. And I'm Cam Stewart. We'll see you on Monday, the next edition of a little ditty that we like to call The Cam Show.
Transform your workspace with Hanomi Ergonomics. From adjustable chairs to standing desks, we provide solutions for comfort and productivity, whether at home or in the office. Improve your posture, reduce strain, and work smarter. Visit us at hanomi.co today. That's HINOMI.co today. Experience the future of secure private cloud storage with Internix. Protect your files with end-to-end encryption, ensuring your data stays private and accessible only to you. Enjoy seamless, fast storage without compromising security. Visit Internix.com today and take control of your digital life. That's INTERNXT.com today. Protect your online privacy with NordVPN. Browse securely, access content from anywhere, and keep your data safe with military-grade encryption. Whether at home or on the go, NordVPN ensures your digital freedom. Stay secure. Download NordVPN today at nordvpn.com. That's NORDVPN.com. Tusains, we understand that maintaining a healthy lifestyle can be challenging, especially in today's fast-paced world. That's why our mission is to make fitness accessible to everyone, anywhere. Committed to excellence, we adopt a user-centric approach guided by ergonomics and medical science. With a team of seasoned professionals in R&D, design, and manufacturing, we prioritize quality across our entire product line. Visit Tusains.com today and start your journey to better health. That's TOUSAINS.com.